Hey guys, it's the Stick Figure Historian. Welcome back. So we're still in our England series, and on the last episode we left off with this Viking invasion in the north. So we're going to talk about that. We have King Harald Hardrada of Norway, which Hardrada, by the way, means cruel or severe. So that kind of gives you an idea of what this guy is like. And we have King Harold of England's brother Tostig with him. So these guys in their army landed at Dunfermline in Scotland, and they came down pillaging into England and went all the way to York, which is the capital city of the province of Northumbria in England. And Morcar, the new Earl of Northumbria, it's here that he tries to stop them. And he's got his brother Edwin to help him. But it was a failure. The Battle of Fulford, as it came to be known, was a disaster. The brothers were defeated, and Hardrada took York for himself. And he also took several hostages, which, just to explain what hostages are, they're prisoners taken in war, and if you try to fight back against the enemy, they'll kill their prisoners. Yeah, not very nice. And after the battle, Hardrada makes a deal with the Northumbrians. He says if they give him more hostages from all over the country and call him King of England, that he'll leave them alone and stop pillaging and plundering. And he retreats back to Stamford Bridge, which unfortunately we don't know exactly where Stamford Bridge was because the bridge no longer exists. But we do know it was a bridge spanning the River Derwent, which runs nearby York. So he went there to wait for their answer. He gave them 5 days to think about it. And, well, it didn't take much thinking. Edwin and Morcar were not ready to give up yet. So they sent word to Harold asking him to come help them. But we have to remember that Harold just sent away his whole army because they got tired of waiting for William of Normandy to come. So he had to gather everybody back up together and come rushing all the way up to Northumbria. And it's actually pretty impressive. I mean, they made it in just 4 days, which was barely enough time to meet Hardrada at the bridge. Well, the morning of the meeting comes, and Hardrada and his guys are waiting at Stamford Bridge, and clearly they're not expecting these puny little Saxon guys to put up a fight, because he's only got part of his army there, and they don't even have their full battle armor on. So you can imagine their surprise when they see Harold coming with an army. Yeah. Well, there's a famous story, and I'll tell it to you for the sake of legend, but nobody really knows if it's true, that Harold comes up to Tostig right before the battle and offers him pardon. He says if Tostig will come back and stop fighting for Hardrada, that he'll give him his earldom back that he took away. And Tostig's like, well, what does Hardrada of Norway get then, if we surrender? And Harold famously replies, 7 feet of English ground, as he is taller than other men. And, well, by this he meant, you get the picture. Anyway, Tostig rejected the offer and decided to side with an enemy instead of his brother. So the battle starts with the Saxons rushing at the Vikings, and they are not ready for this, and they try to run across the bridge to form a shield wall. And you can see, I have a picture of one here, and it's a military maneuver that's really effective against withstanding a charge. And while they're trying to form up into a shield wall, there's another famous legend that this Viking guy single-handedly held the bridge and kept the Saxons from crossing while his friends were trying to form up. And it's said that this guy was so huge and so powerful that he killed 40 guys single-handedly with an axe. And nobody could get past him until a Saxon guy slipped under the bridge and stabbed him from underneath through the slats. But by the time he died, everybody was all formed up and they were ready to withstand the charge. And it was a very fierce battle. There was heavy losses on both sides. But eventually it became clear that the Vikings were losing, especially when eventually Hardrada himself was killed. And we see there's a famous painting here which depicts his death. He's the guy in the blue tunic. Which, is it just me, or does he look more like Arabian or something? He doesn't really look like a Viking. I like my stick figure version better. Anyway, in the end, the Vikings are defeated, and they surrender to Harold, and he gives them very gracious terms, and he lets them go home, but only after they promise never to come back to England. So this famous battle comes to be called the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Very original name there. There's actually a monument to this battle in the town of Stamford Bridge, nearby where it was fought. And even though this is a great victory for the Saxons, it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows. They lost a lot of men in this battle, and among them is Tostig, Harold's brother. And of course he was very grieved about this. But nobody really had much time to be sad about anything, because guess what? There's an invasion in the south of England now. Duke William of Normandy has finally showed up. So stay tuned for episode 6, guys. There's going to be a big showdown.